Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jorvik, and in today's video we are going to be watching not one but two episodes of Twilight of the Gods. If you haven't seen my video on the first episode of Twilight of the Gods, let me give you a little bit of a refresher. First of all, it'll be in the description so you can go check that out, okay? Awesome. But Twilight of the Gods is a show on Netflix, and it is produced and directed and written by Zack Snyder, of all people. Now look, I like Zack Snyder. I'm not a huge stan of him. I don't really believe in the restore the Snyderverse. That's not really my thing. It's a different conversation. As a Norse pagan, I feel like it is my duty to watch all things, Viking-esque or Norse mythology-esque, and that's exactly what this is. There were some concerns in the first episode. I didn't really express it in the video. I mean, everyone views the gods differently, and everyone has their own interpretation of the gods, so I guess we'll just have to see. I am very curious. The only gods we saw were Balder, who one was golden and looked like a Greek god, not a Norse god. We also got Thor, who was a bloodthirsty psychopath. And to end the episode, we got Loki, who is, everyone knows Loki, but in Norse mythology, he is a dickhead. I don't really follow Loki, sorry brother, but he's not really in my vein of gods that I worship. Only because one of the gods I worship is Skadi, and she does not like Loki, so, want to keep her happy, I guess. But anyways, so this is going to be episode 2. And then later on in the video, we'll watch episode 3. Episodes are shorter. I can do 2 in a video and just kind of block it out that way. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive in. As always, if you like this type of content, don't forget to like and subscribe and join that Van Clan. I think that's what I'm going to call you guys. But if you have a better name, let me know. All right. Let's get into it. Right, she was dragged down to Helheim by Loki after the destruction of her whole village.
Did I die for you as well?
It's hell you visit, but you'll survive. You are a
That's
guest
hell.
in my graying queendom.
She's the goddess of death, by the way. Loki's daughter. Obviously, in the MCU, it's different. Hela, you might know her. She was the sister of Thor and Loki. But obviously, in Norse mythology, she is the daughter of Loki.
And you called me a guest. Is your guest free to leave?
Yes, Blood Bride.
But you want revenge.
Sigrid! Sigrid! What happened? Where were you?
I must kill Thor.
He's not bound by our codes or by honor. He is Thor.
We fear no gods.
So we're going to go to Vanaheim, probably Alfheim, probably Nidavellir.
I don't remember that much blood when I was first split.
My family is dead. Murdered by Thor Odinson. I will see him dead.
Can't show this. I'm sorry, guys.
Such a one will do much worse to us for knocking on her door unbidden.
Why do we call in this person?
Because even gods fear the future.
That's true. That's actually probably foreshadowing. Odin was one of those gods who feared the future. So I wonder if we'll see a little bit. Oh, is that reindeer? Ooh. Interesting way to depict Yggdrasil.
She knows. She knows already. She looked into her baby's guts, and they told her our plans.
Oh, the son I ate for Freya's good favor. They still tell that. I can help your thrall.
Why should we trust you, witch?
Because you will. So you do.
That's no kind of...
Do it! Whatever it be, do it!
Do not touch him!
Wait!
You would have us all die!
The Astrak target for Thor. But there is a dwarf, I'm told, who can give us an edge. We go to Nidavellir.
Cool. So we are going to Nidavellir. Interesting. Whoa. It's kind of sick imagery, actually.
To enter.
Then I will negotiate.
I'm not familiar with this imagery. See, this is how I would interpret like Helheim. But Helheim just looks like hell, which is not true, at least in my interpretation. And I never thought Nidavellir would look like this. Yeah, this looks more like what I thought Nidavellir would look like.
Metal.
Follow.
That was a weird cut. I mean, I do like her design. It's like you go to hell, you come back, and you have like this blood stain on
Name your
like
price.
this mark. Like
You have been
it's
misled.
interesting.
I'm not paid in gold.
What price then?
Souls.
Sigrid! It's called Antler. And it's yours. Now.
Antler.
And you profit
Kinda
by her
cool.
curse. I am older than I look. And not by accident.
Okay.
You have
So
not
there's a
finished
price for these
yet.
weapons.
5 warriors you sought. It's only 4 I count.
Hold! I'm coming with you.
To what end?
My business is my own. Secret! The women will clad her in iron.
Whoa, that's actually kind of sick.
There are your tears. If you wish, you will shatter the sky.
Yep. Odin
My old
knows.
friends, thought and memory. Send Sigurd's plans to my sight.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this episode before we move on to the next one. So, again, I mentioned this in my first reaction video that while I've been studying Norse mythology, I'm not like an expert in it. So, a lot of this stuff I have heard, and a lot of it is just new to me. I don't know. I did see somewhere that there's a lot of Norse pagans specifically who are upset about this show. I'm not trying to let that opinion weigh myself on this, but it is interesting the direction that this show is going, because in my mind, I think I also mentioned this in the previous episode, was that I believe this could be based on the saga of Volsung. and because that's where Leaf is from, her Sigrid's husband. But this episode focuses on, what the plan is. So Sigrid forming this team, they all have god-killing weapons. They are now moving towards, I believe, we're gonna journey through the 9 realms probably in this, and then maybe the final 2 episodes will be in Asgard. I don't know. I don't know what it is about this, but this feels very. I can't explain like how this feels. Like it just feels like Zack Snyder vaguely read or heard of these things. It's just like, yeah, I can create a story from that. I mean, I guess that's what all mythology is, I mean, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we all have our interpretations of what the mythology means to us, and it's just like Christian mythology or like Jewish mythology, like all that stuff, like those people believe, what they interpret from their books. Obviously, as a Norse pagan, or just a pagan in general, again, pagan is a very blanket term depending on what god pantheon you follow. We don't really have texts, we don't have a Bible, we just have the surviving texts of oral traditions and written down traditions from basically Iceland, and that is what the Prose Edda is. And then of course there's the saga of Volsung, and I think there's a couple of other ones. There's the Hamlaval, if I even pronounced that right. What I'm talking. If you know what I'm talking about. So there are several surviving texts, I guess you can say. But I'm just not familiar with this story. I just don't know if maybe I just haven't gotten to this side of mythology yet, or if this is a original story. But if you are a Norse pagan and if this is based off something, please let me know. But let's go ahead and continue to episode 3, and then we'll kind of see how the story progresses. Why do they have to put nipples on everything? This is a water creature. She doesn't have to have any. Oh, was he having like a vision? Who is that? That's probably Sif.
Now, son, push. Father did dispatch me.
I really don't like the design of Baldur. It just doesn't feel Nordic. I mean, he looks like a Greek god. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. That's just me, I guess. It's weird that... Oh, there's Loki. Oh, that's probably Freya's cat. Asgard looks pretty cool, I guess. Also, why is Freya's cat hairless?
Hail Freya. Fair as always.
Hail Loki, Lofi's son. Why is that, I wonder?
Interesting.
But it's your war-spoiled country which concerns me. Good tidings, I
Vanaheim, by the way, is where the Vanir. Vanir? I guess it doesn't matter. But Vanir, I'll explain after.
Is this milk thine own?
Covenants and compacts are best writ with mother's milk.
A toast, then, to bosom friends.
I didn't like that. I'm gonna be honest. That was weird. Also, interesting design choice for Freya. My dog is in here. She is snoring. I hope you can't hear her.
When Asgard proffered peace, the Vanir had no choice but to accept old One-Eyed Odin's one-sided truce.
Boltworkers.
Kind of gives me... It feels like... I don't know if it's just me, but I just feel like Zack Snyder just like, what if Lord of the Rings, but just with Norse mythology? I don't know. They feel like the Nazgul. No? Am I wrong?
I can feel it.
Oh, she can feel the world tree, and yet she cannot show us the way.
Find quiet or feel the back of my hand.
I still really like the animation in this show. I think it definitely has its own style, and it feels like a comic book, I guess.
I take back everything I said about your magic.
Yeah, Norse magic is pretty powerful, from what I've seen, at least.
Is he trying to kill us?
I wouldn't even stopped. I would have kept going. It's kind of a sick shot of them all. Like they're like the Norse Avengers.
Is anyone there?
Like a faithless coward, caged and here confined. This maid is after me, alone. I demand the kill be mine. Ring ray!
That's kind of cool, I guess. It's an interesting use of his powers, for sure.
Stop! You cannot go in there.
Leif!
What? There's a slave?
Your bodies will gladden his ravens.
What a weird way to animate them.
Come on!
Father? Father?
Uh-oh. What? She has powers too? Who is she? Oh, she's a Vanir.
Vanaheim!
I called you shield maid.
I am the weeping.
The weeping. Interesting. I didn't think they would fight this soon, but the action is really well animated, I have to say. It's like, how do you fight him? He's a literal god. Like,
Secret!
This is Vanaheim's border!
I've never seen Vanaheim's been
You've broken
depicted that
treaty
way.
to attack.
I'm sorry for my deception. None may enter Vanaheim. None but the worthy.
I wonder who she is. I mean, I'm not familiar with a lot of the Vanaheim or the Vanir gods. Hey, all right. So that was episode 2 and 3. So let's talk about episode 3 since I already kind of talked about 2 a little bit. So yeah, so we got a little bit more on exactly what the journey is. I mean, it is still early in the season. I think it's just weird the way that they're depicting the gods. And, like, it's not, like, offensive to me or anything. Like I mentioned earlier, everyone has their own interpretation, their own vision for what the gods look like or whatever. Remember Thor being, like, this psychopath. Like, I just don't understand, like, why they're going towards this. And this could be a stretch. This is just my personal theory for this. I think Zack, Snyder, and like the other writers of the show, they probably want to distinguish their Thor from the MCU Marvel Thor. And I know these two shows aren't even closely related, but it's like the general audiences envision Thor as Chris Hemsworth, as this kind, as this, you know, this hero. And so when you take your own interpretation of, you know, Norse mythology, obviously Marvel MCU Norse mythology is a whole different discussion, but when you take that, you know, how do you introduce basically the same character to another general audiences when everyone is so used to this? And I think making him such the polar opposite of what most people are used to Thor being, I think was a choice. I don't think it's a good choice personally. And I mentioned it earlier, there is a dark side to Norse, to like the Norse paganism. I mean, I made a video about it a long time ago, talking about, like, you know, the alt-right, you know, side of paganism, and how, like, only white people can be Norse pagan. And so it's very interesting to me that their version of Freya is a darker skinned woman, and that obviously that doesn't bother me. It's just, you know, again, an interpretation, but Freya is a Vanir, and I think, and then the girl that helps them at the end also had darker skin, so maybe it was a design choice to help distinguish, you know, the Aesir and the Vanir. At least that's just how I rational. But also, we haven't seen Odin yet, so I am very curious on how they depict Odin, about the Aesir Vanir war, and what a lot of that was. It's complicated, but like it's basically, I mean, they kind of talked about it in this episode, but it was the combination of the Aesir and the Vanir pantheon. So you will, in like post-war, you will see like the Norse mythology pantheon kind of be a mix between the Vanir and the Aesir. And the Aesir are obviously the people who live in Asgard, and then Vanir live in Vanaheim, which is their end goal for this episode, which, you know, they made it to, so yay for them. Again, I mentioned it, I'm not as familiar if this is even like a story. I also just think, like, again, this is a different conversation, and it's probably something that I would talk about in like a fandom friendly episode, but the nudity is just so aggressive. I mean, they're giving like fish lady nipples. Like, I don't think that's necessary. Like, I think, relax. And don't get me wrong, I am not a prude by any way. I mean, have at it. I'm just saying, for this, I mean, there's a time and place for it. You know, it's not that big of a deal. It's just, I just wanted to bring it up. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued, at least. Like I mentioned earlier, the animation, I think, is really good. And a lot of the fighting scenes, I think a lot of I think that the scene where, that family was like gonna hand him over to the huntsman, I think they were animated very weirdly. Like, their faces were more, no pun intended, were more animated to make them look more devilish. And I don't know, I'm kind of getting, I don't know if this is just me, but while I'm like watching so far in these 3 episodes, I'm getting a lot of like Christian undertones. Does that make sense? I don't even know how to explain it. Like, it just feels like this is what and I know like Zack Snyder, his a lot in all of his movies, Superman, or Man of Steel, Justice League, even 300, and I mean, there's a lot of these imagery, these religious allegories, and this religious imagery. So that's why I was very intrigued when I saw that he was doing Norse mythology. But yeah, I mean, I don't know who's in charge of the designs, but yeah, it's just weird to me. It's just a weird like interpretation, I guess. I don't know. I mean, obviously we're gonna have to watch more. I am gonna watch the whole season. So that'll be it for this video. It's gonna be a lot longer, obviously, because we're watching episode 2 and we watched episode 3. So let me know down below what you thought of these 2 episodes. Let me know your theories, I guess, on where this show could be going. And if you are a Norse pagan or someone who studies Norse mythology, let me know how you feel about these interpretations of the gods. My name is Jorvik, and I'll see you in the next one.